Big Kel
Big Kel
and Kahuna
and Kahuna
podcast.
podcast. Mwah. For sure.
Okay, welcome back. We are in episode 9 of Big Kel,
Kahuna.
and I'm Kelly,
And I'm Alec.
and there we go. So, you want to recap anything from the last episode? I think we got a couple good clips out
Yeah,
of
Dan
that.
apologized about calling me a Lego adult.
Yeah,
So
did he?
I am vindicated.
There you go.
So that's good. We got some good clips. We had some interesting conversations. So probably one of our top 3 episodes.
Yeah, I think so. The clips for sure. And then we got a couple coming out over the next few days. By the time you watch this, they'll already be out. So we're trying to figure that out. Again, this is an open invitation. If anyone wants to be our content producer and help produce the show, we'd welcome it. We're going to start hanging flyers around and see what we get. But the prerequisite, of course, is that they watch the show because I don't want a liberal snowflake coming in here and blowing the mojo.
I don't want a
cooking.
chick down here either. I respect women, but it would mess up the whole flow of this if we
For
had a
who?
female. For me.
Okay, well, I don't have an issue with that. As long as they're like-minded, I don't care who you are. Race, creed, religion, sex, don't matter to me.
Can I mention
Orientation, I don't really care. As
Can I
long as
mention
you're
something?
like-minded, then we're cool.
once Formula One season kicks back up in a month, we need to start filming this on Sunday after the races.
Okay.
Because I'll be coming over here probably for the
Okay.
races.
Then we could do it after the races, but then we'd have to do the prognostication like right before and timestamp it, and then we'll throw it in to the show.
What do you
And
mean? Times?
So let's say the race is 9 a.m., right?
Yeah.
At 8 a.m., we go on real quick on an iPhone, do a 30-second who we think's going 1, 2, 3, and
Oh, yeah.
driver of the day, and why. And then what we'll do is we'll end up recording after the show, but we'll splice that in, and then we'll give ourselves a critique of how shitty
Yeah,
we did.
I mean, we could go down here and film like a 1-minute video.
yeah, we can
and
do
we
that
could
too.
throw like $5 on it. Who gets closest?
Okay, fair enough.
Williams is looking good too.
You know,
I mentioned that to you.
you
Carlos
did.
Sainz is doing quite well.
well, I think Sainz. Okay, so tell me why he wouldn't be a top 5 driver. Give me the top 5. Max,
Verstappen,
George
Russell.
Russell, top 5.
Well, Max, Lando,
Leclerc.
Hamilton, Piastri or Sainz or Russell. We'll
Right,
round it
so
out.
that's my point.
Piastri's doing well.
But he's young.
Yeah.
So maybe Sainz is a top 5 driver if you don't think he's better. If you think he's better than George and Piastri,
I think in the car he's in, he's definitely going to be in.
he'll be a top 10 driver.
I'm going
in
to
the
eat my
car.
words, but I think he'll be top 8 this upcoming year.
Put money on it. I don't think you're wrong because they did upgrade the Williams car, right?
Yeah, because as I was telling you, they foregoed upgrading last year's cars so they could be more familiar with the upgrades they applied this year. So they
Right.
were running on year-old Mercedes parts last year, and this year they now have the most up-to-date stuff.
Yeah, that also might have had some fiscal stuff. I mean, they don't have a big backer.
No,
That's why
they do now though.
Yeah.
They got Atlassian, which makes Jira and Confluence and all that.
Right,
crap.
but does that make them like Mercedes rich or Red Bull rich or McLaren rich
They're
or
probably
Ferrari rich?
4th or 5th richest. They're probably 5th richest.
Right behind
now.
McLaren?
It was a big deal.
So then they're ahead of the Red Bull 2 team?
Toro Rosso. It's not Toro Rosso anymore.
Yeah, whatever.
What do they call it?
Well, what about the one that Lance Stroll's in with the old guy?
Aston Martin.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, they got daddy's money.
So they would be 6 or 7.
Yeah, but you
better
gotta
than 10,
understand. You
or
gotta
better than 10.
understand.
Do they have a spare car in case they crash it, or does Albon and Sainz shouldn't be crashing that much?
Yeah, but every team travels with 2 sets of cars.
So what happened to Kid Sargent? Who
Logan
picked him up?
Sargent. I don't think anyone picked him up.
I still think that
He's
kid,
probably their practice driver.
I still think that kid. I don't know what his name is. I showed it to you. He's won like the last 3 Indy series.
Mhm.
He should be in F1.
Yeah.
F2 for sure.
At least put him in a practice round.
Yeah, see what he can do.
But you
Maybe
have
he
to
could be a reserve driver on one of shit teams this year.
You have
Let's
to-
make an infomercial. Send him in.
you have to understand though the team's budget is predetermined based on their rank in the constructors championship. So 1, 2, and 3 get to spend more money than like 6, 7, 8, 9.
Is that why somebody got in trouble one year because they overspent their allocation?
I think that was Mercedes.
No, I think it was McLaren or somebody. Somebody overspent.
But yeah, based on your team standing,
they took a penalty, a dollar penalty.
yeah, based on your team standing, it determines how much you can
But that
spend.
kind of sucks.
Right, it keeps the little guy down. It should be the
Yeah.
inverse. The top teams should
Yeah.
have a lower budget than the bottom teams.
Yeah, or at least the same.
hmm
I mean, it's just see that, and that's what I love about
Too much politics in F1.
about the NFL, the NBA, NHL, and NFL, NHL, NBA. Yeah, that's about the three big sports ones, right? Oh, hockey.
MLS, NH. We already said
that-
NHL.
Because they try
MLB.
they try to instill parity. So if
Yeah.
you suck, you get the number one pick. I like that.
Yeah.
I also like the English Premier League soccer. I love this. The bottom three are gone,
Mm-hmm.
and in the next league, the top three are up from the Champions
MLB
League.
doesn't do that shit at all, especially once everybody figured out Moneyball was the way to do it.
Well, some people have to do it on a cheap because the revenue's different, and that's where rich. Look, you got money in sports, and they allow you to be in that top tier. You can buy championships, man.
Oh yeah, for sure.
You don't always hit it because look at the stupid ass Redskins, Dan Schneider. He was a cancer, and with all his money, his little egotistical,
Megalomaniac.
whatever he was, he got in the middle of so much shit and screwed so much up. I am just thankful that the Redskins' new ownership and the new coaches and the new GMs are doing something, and I'm looking for them to do something big in the draft.
The year after
Plus, we got a shitload. I think we got like $80 million in cap space.
the year after we got rid of Dan Schneider, we go to the NFC Championship game,
which we hadn't been to since
which we would
93.
have won if they didn't have 4 turnovers.
Well, I don't know about that. But be honest, son. We wouldn't have been at the game if the Lions didn't have 5 turnovers.
Touche. You think we could have beaten the Chiefs?
I
With the way
thought-
the Eagles
no,
steamrolled them.
I think that the Lions could have beat the Chiefs. I think the Redskins could have beat the Chiefs. I think the Eagles did beat the Chiefs. And who did the Eagles beat to get in there? Redskins, but who did they beat before they got to the Redskins? I don't know.
Ravens?
No, Ravens, different group. I think the Bills could have beat the Chiefs.
Did
although
the
they
Chiefs
didn't.
play the Rams?
The Rams. Yeah, that one I'm not so sure. I think the Rams are they don't have their identity, but we'll go from there. Okay, any current affairs?
Oh, California, a few weeks after getting destroyed by wildfires, is now having 2 days of heavy rain.
Yeah,
and it's going to lead to flooding.
Well, unfortunately, not only
Mudslides.
flooding but mudslides because all the underground vegetation is gone. But at least we know that all the reservoirs and waterways will be filled. However, they were filled before the storm because I think President Trump and Gavin Newsom figured how to fill a reservoir by leaving the spigot open.
Go figure.
Imagine that.
Go figure.
Go figure. You want to say a little bit about J.D. Vance?
No, man, this is all you. You brought this up to
Oh,
me
no,
on the
no,
car ride over. I
yeah.
like what he was saying.
Listen, so I appreciate everything that the president's doing. Number 47 is executive orders, how they're interacting and interceding on behalf of Ukraine to end the aggression of Russia and what they need to do. I think the Secretary of Defense maybe gave away too much information before discussion by saying NATO is not, a available option, which is absolutely positively true. But you don't get ahead of your negotiations. So that's the only thing I'll give the whole administration for fault this week. Vice President Vance did a fantastic job, I believe, when he was in Europe having his conversations. I really like the fact that he held people accountable by not listening to what their constituents say and having unbridled immigration and illegal immigration into their system and what that's doing to them. I also like that one comment he made that, listen, if we could take 10 years of Greta, what's her name? Greta what?
Greta Thunberg.
Thunberg giving us crap about the EPA, you guys could take a couple
Dude, those are all
months
staged, though.
about
Did you see
people
all
giving
her
you-
arrests were
It's
staged?
all goofy. But that's what happened. Listen, I akin to what's happening now, and your mom didn't like this analogy because she thought it was a sexist analogy, and it's not a sexist analogy. It's a parenting analogy. So imagine, if you will, that the United States is a child caught in divorce, right? 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, formative years, because that's what we've digressed to. Well, a child was living with mom without a male presence in the house for a long time, and a child was allowed to do whatever the hell they wanted.
Mhm.
I showed your mom a commercial about some kid. The mom, dad said, "Hey, you got to go do your homework," and he said, "When I'm done." And the mom's like defending the kid, saying he'll get there when he's done. His dad asks him the second time, and the kid says, "When I'm done." So he goes up there and he rips the TV off the wall. No, I'm sorry. He ripped up their Game Boy and all their cords and threw it in the garbage, and then said, "Let's go." But it's akin to a impressionable child, 8 to 12, living with a mom where there's no boundaries. And then the mom says, "You know what? I can't take it no more. I've had it. I can't control it." And then the child comes to dad. And dad puts rules, structure, reason, rationale, consequences for decisions.
Is Trump dad in this scenario?
In this scenario, it's Trump's dad. Biden was mama. And the country is the child. So all of a sudden now, there's nothing happening that you wouldn't want in anything normal. To the life of me, I cannot understand why Democrats are bitching and whining about finding fraud, waste, and abuse. I said last time that, unless it's somebody that or your own pockets that you're filling, is probably what's causing the issue.
Mhm.
But the day of free money is over.
Yeah.
I found it ironic that there was a bunch of Democrats in front of the Veterans Affairs building protesting on basis for the veterans, which is always great. Veterans need to be cared for better. But all that nonsense, they're almost up to $1 trillion in bullshit. You could have quadrupled 10 times the VA budget if you slid all that money in there and addressed all. So where is everybody? They're all a bunch of, they're preaching to the politicians. They're preaching to the leftist media. They're making themselves out to be something. It's terrible.
But
it's terrible.
European unions need to get their butts in gear. I mean, Sweden is a perfect example. They promoted a heavy amount of migration and immigration into their country.
No, I think you're talking about the Germans.
Well, Sweden now
and France.
Sweden now has
Arabic.
Sweden now has curfews and no-go zones.
Yeah.
Because of the migrants.
Well, listen, I'll tell you what. This week we will point out another world leader, which I kind of like. We talked about the president of El Salvador and what he's done with the gangs. I don't recall the gentleman's name, but he's either prime minister, I think, of Poland.
I like that guy.
There ain't shit going on in Poland.
No. They shoot immigrants to try and come into the country.
They showed illegal immigration in Poland.
They shoot them.
On the thing.
Uh-huh.
It was 0.01.
Yeah.
But
I like that guy.
But listen, I heard him one time, and all the left folks that are watching this will get pissed. But the guy says basically,
we don't have any leftist viewers.
You first obligation is to protect my citizens. So if you can't come and behave in a manner that's consistent with us, you can't come.
What a profound notion.
And you know what? We don't care if you come or not. We're fine.
Yeah. That should be how immigration should be treated. You should assimilate into the culture of the country you're traveling to.
Well, I don't know if you totally assimilate because, you got Chinatown here, you got Little Italy, and people still hold on their heritage. I got no problem with that.
That's fine, but look at what's happening in Europe
the difference,
or the UK. They're taking over.
Hold on a second. Let me finish. I'm going to say it again.
You fucking...
The difference is when everybody came to the U.S., they were American first.
Sure.
Of Irish descent.
Mm-hmm.
Now, when these people are coming into the European Union, they're still who they are, but living in that country.
Yeah.
And that's the problem they're getting themselves into. I like the one comment J.D. Vance made comparing the EU or the EC, the European Commission, as commissars as it relates to what the Soviet unions used to set up. Because the EU, the EC, they need to disband that.
It's stunted.
That's just a whole nother level of bureaucracy that's just quite comical to me.
The one thing I found funny was when Trump welcomed the prime minister or whatever, the head of India.
Prime Minister Modi.
He's cool. I kind of like him. But one of the reporters asked him a question. He said, "You need to say that louder." And he repeated himself. And Trump goes, "I can't understand a word he's saying." And it just moves right on. But you were telling me he used to do that all the time.
Well, yeah, he doesn't have much patience. You're pressed for time. You need to get your message out. So they got to make sure they got somebody clear and articulate.
Another thing I want to talk about. Did you see what the Army did yesterday?
I like that commercial.
Well, no, the Army is no longer funding transition surgeries,
Right.
and they're no longer allowing trans people in that branch of the military.
That's okay.
That's good.
Look, I don't care if you're trans or not. When you're in the military, you're a dude or a guy because you can't.
Dude
be
or a gal.
Yeah, a dude or a gal because you can't pretend to be either or. It shit don't work. So I'm happy for that. But I don't know why taxpayer money is paying for a transition of somebody which is not a life-saving or it's an elective surgery while they're covered. I don't understand
Yeah,
why
but
insurance covers that
these
anyway. But that's a
Democrats
whole
are
nother
so
deal.
silly.
It just doesn't make sense.
What upsets me about the Democrats is they're acting as if Elon Musk was not elected. He's an unelected official doing
He
all
is.
this stuff. First of all, we voted for
He
him.
is an elected official.
But
no, you
they're-
didn't vote for. You voted for Trump.
I
And Trump
knew
uses
Elon
whatever
would be part of
resources
the
he wants.
party, sure. But what I don't understand is they're mad at him being an unelected official, going after unelected officials who are using our taxpayer dollars to fund things abroad.
Yeah, it's a
a
height of
farce.
hypocrisy. Height of hypocrisy. No, going back to the Army, I will give the Army 100% credit for this. They changed their recruitment commercial. There is in the past it was a cartoon of a young girl saying that she stands up for people and this and that, and I'll do the same thing in the military. It is quite left of center. It's quite left of center. Flags in the back and everything else. The new one is they got the head physical conditioning guy at one of the bases.
Uh-huh.
This guy looks like Reacher.
Was he the big guy that Hedsketh was running with?
No.
Okay.
Let me finish, Alec.
I
Damn,
say
I
it
would have
one more
been there.
time.
He looks like Reacher the way he's built. And he throws on a rack on his back, and he has, I guess, double money. He's got carrying 350 pounds or so on his shoulder, and he's just doing a walk, and he does something back, and he stands up, and he says something to the effect that the stronger you are, the harder you are to kill. And that's it.
That's good. I like that.
And I'm like, wow. You know, what a commercial. And what a difference.
Yeah.
You know, and the armed forces enrollment is highest now than it's been in a very long time. So
I
that's
wonder
pretty
why.
good.
I wonder
Well,
why people are joining the military under a
faith,
strong
confidence in
leader.
commander in chief. So, all right, what do we have on the book? Well, the book's coming out soon.
We got no chapters this week.
Nah, we don't have to do chapters on that, but just you know, I'll say it. I'll bring something up. We talk about, you know, taking care of yourself, self-care.
Mm-hmm.
It could be a multitude of things. You know, you go get a mani-pedi if you want. And guys can get mani-pedis. You can go get your hair cut. You can get your beard cut. Just do something and enjoy the time. Don't be rushed to do it. Just enjoy it.
Wash your face.
That's it. Yeah. Do a cold plunge with
Trim
ice
your
cubes,
nails.
just your face for your
But don't go full
cerebral
out.
cortex.
Don't go full out and put the cucumbers on your eyes. That's kind of suspect.
That's suspect. That's a little sus. But aside from that, that's cool. All right, where are we at?
We could talk about anything.
Well, you're still on current affairs and things. Is there anything else we talk about before we start
Current
jumping down, or we're going to run out of
affairs.
time?
There is the Daytona 500, which I don't care about. You know, I'm vehemently against.
Yeah, but that's the Great
NASCAR.
American Race.
Well,
That's number one race in
what
America.
was the Daytona 500 that was sponsored by Hooters, and they had Apaches drive around for the first lap? I think it was
What's an
in
Apache?
the early 2000s. Military
helicopters?
helicopter.
They could have.
But it
I
was
mean-
sponsored by Hooters. That's the pinnacle of American culture. And Europeans say we don't have culture.
Do you know how many people watch that race?
I'm sure a lot.
Oh, it got to be.
10, 15 million maybe.
Well, what did Super Bowl get? 100 and some, 113 million, 250 million, something like that. 113. I guess. I don't know. I can bet you they get 30 million.
Yeah, could be. What'd you say the purse was?
30 million.
That's asinine. For one race.
Shit, that's money's money, man.
Yeah.
Listen, I do not begrudge any professional athlete who gets what somebody wants to pay him
Mm-hmm.
because it's your value at the time.
Sure.
Now, sometimes contracts are current value, sometimes it's potential value. But listen, I find it hilarious that if an athlete does bank, like Kirk Cousins, maybe
He's a journeyman, but he's consistent.
maybe the 75th best quarterback of all time, maybe in the top 100, maybe not. He has become the richest player by NFL contract in the history of the game, and then some.
Still drives a
And-
minivan.
And he's sitting on guaranteed money coming out of Atlanta. So I begrudge no athlete, no individual in business who gets a heavy contract.
Get your bag.
Because if the person giving the money didn't believe there was value, they wouldn't have paid you. Now, you could suck. You know, they could have bought more in potential than actuality, and that's on them. They didn't do their due diligence. But don't give an athlete crap.
Speaking
you
of-
guys are making 60 grand a year with somebody coming to you and say, I'll give you 150 grand a year. And then you go, and then about 2 years in or 2 months in, they go, oh, shit, we got the wrong one. But you're on a contract for 2 years. Whose fault is that?
Speaking of football, this is a little bit crass, but did you see Ocho Cinco's interview with Stephen A. Smith?
No. I don't watch Stephen A. Smith.
Nah, I don't like him at all. He's
I
considering running. How funny would it be if he runs against J.D. Vance?
I watch Jason Whitlock.
Okay. Pat McAfee's good too.
Pat McAfee's good, but Jason Whitlock is the anti-Stephen A. Smith. And as much as people think Stephen A. Smith is right, Jason will tell you he's full of shit. And you know what? I watched those two for hours. Jason Whitlock is correct.
Well, I knew
he's the guy.
I knew Stephen A. Smith was full of shit when he tried to commentate that one UFC event, and Rogan next to him is just looking at him like this.
Yeah.
But so
He's
Ocho
the guy,
Cinco,
he's the
let
guy
me
who
finish.
believes in the hype of himself
Okay, so
more
I
than
can't-
himself, and
I can't
nobody
say,
keep
let me finish.
nobody keep. Well, you talked over me like a little bitch, so it's the same.
I was trying to bring up a story, then you started talking about Whitlock.
I was responding to your question.
Okay. Well, see, you can respond to questions, but I'm not allowed to.
No, that's
So,
just rhetorical.
Chad Ocho, it's a rhetorical question, Hogan. Answer it.
What was that kid's name? What?
Oh, I'm
Harriman?
gonna have to mute our last name. Well, no, I mean, I guess you could see
Yeah,
it
we
if
got
you
it
really
up
want
there.
to.
Who was a dumbass?
That was Harrison.
Harriman.
Harriman.
Yeah,
I had a
they-
football coach when I was, 10?
Yeah, and he was what, 18,
He's
19?
he's in his early 20s. He would chew tobacco. He's a redneck for sure.
Oh,
Well, he-
I loved it because he had on his cleats, but then he had on those long, basketball shorts to like below your knee.
Yeah, the ones Adam Sandler wears.
Yeah.
So he was an assistant coach at the time, and he's not the brightest bulb in the box. But he was grilling me for some reason.
No, the whole team, but he targeted on you and he was grilling you.
Yeah, and he asked me a rhetorical question, and he said, "That's a rhetorical question.
Answer it.
Answer it." And I'm 10, and I go, "Wait, isn't a rhetorical question something you're not supposed to answer?" He goes, "Go run a lap."
Dumbass.
But so let me get back to Ocho Cinco.
Yeah, what
he
he
said
did.
on Stephen A. Smith's podcast, he started off with a 3-inch wiener. And he said some girl was saying, "Go deeper." And he goes, "That's when I felt real sad because that was all I could go." So you got a penis enlargement surgery. They're like 10 inches. And
That's not possible.
And Stephen A. goes, I'll cut this. He goes, "No, I'm proud of it. I share everything." But I kind of doubt Ocho Cinco had a 3-inch long. But
Dude,
I don't
listen,
think penis enlargement surgeries work.
I don't even know they work. I don't even think they're real.
No. The
Look,
Chinese tie weights to their...
Ocho Cinco did not make that much money. Now, he did save his money because he was a cheap bastard and
Yep.
he hardly spent it. But if he could pay for that, do you not think that there would be
Every guy would do that.
10,000 billionaires that have had that done? And then everybody's walking around carrying like a little bat from like
A
the
tripod?
the
Everyone's
minor
a
league game. Remember the one
Yeah.
that you hit that guy in the head with?
I
What
was-
was his name?
That was the Braves. Braves mascot.
Yeah, but what was his name?
I don't know. But also when I was a kid, I'll tell the story. They got me one of those miniature baseball bats
We went to the game.
at the
we had
Braves
box
minor league
seats.
game.
Yeah, in Woodbridge.
Yeah, and then the mascots started messing with me, so I just hit him in the nuts with the baseball bat. And then he stopped messing with me.
Yeah, no,
That's for sure.
Because he started, you were like 6 or 7, and we had just went into this place, and we had seats on the floor and everything. But that's a problem because my daughter and wife couldn't pay attention to the game, so me and Alec are guarding as bodyguards. But nevertheless, we go in there and we buy all the different things for the kids, and popcorn streamers, T-shirt, and he wanted one of them little mini bats. Every guy's had a little mini bat as a baseball fan. And then the mascot comes in and like starts stalking them, and he keeps telling them to go away, and he keeps stalking them. So then you just bent down and cracked him in the nuts with your wood bat and ran away. You put him to his knees.
I know. It certainly broke the fourth wall for me because underneath that costume I heard, "Oh!"
That was a good
I think
day.
he chased after me for a little bit,
Oh, he
too.
did, but I think he was just joking around. That was a good day until you ran up to me and then he left you alone.
Yeah,
So
that was fun. I learned I could only throw a baseball 30 miles an hour
you
on
were
that-
like 6 or 7.
on that speed pitch. Remember that speed pitch game? The one, especially in It's
Yeah, but
Always...
at Kings Dominion you got in the 70s.
Yeah. It's funny, that scene from It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia when Charlie's trying to hit on the waitress when she's a carny, and he goes, "Speed pitch, huh? What's this about?" And she points to it and says, "It's to see how fast can you throw." He goes, all right. Trying to prove my worth over here. That's a great show. I know I'm rambling. You usually talk most of the time. You want dead air? Are you just going to look at me?
Are you talking about Always Sunny in Philadelphia?
Yeah, It's Always Sunny. That's
is
what
a
it's called.
Great show. What's your favorite episode?
Oh,
you know mine.
The Day Man Cometh.
The Day Man
Or
Cometh.
The Night Man Cometh.
Or is the Night Man coming?
I don't know.
What's your second favorite?
My second favorite episode of It's Always Sunny
I
in
gotta
Philadelphia
think about that.
would probably have to be Charlie McDennis 2 Electric Boogaloo, when they play their game with that guy who Frank pretended was a high up guy at Mattel.
Oh yeah. I think for me, I'm not sure which one, but I know one of them is in there when they're fucking with the McBoyles.
The McPoyles.
Yeah, either that or the one from what is it? Not Scratchy. What is it? Richard. What's
Rickety Cricket.
Rickety Cricket. When they screw.
They
Cricket
ruined
up
that guy's
somehow.
life. There was
You know, Dee's on a new TV show on regular TV.
Yeah.
Where she's like a super sleuth.
Yeah, I don't. Come on. There's the one where the gang solves the gas crisis,
I don't remember that.
where they just buy barrels of gas and they try and sell it in front of a gas station. And Charlie, when they're trying to measure, Charlie goes, I'll just count it. And Matt goes, how are you going to count a liquid?
Yeah, I didn't see that one.
All great episodes. Hulu actually took a few of them off their site because
Yeah.
there was the first episode when Dee was dating that black guy. But the better boyfriend was the guy they all thought was retarded.
Yeah.
And he dissed them at the end.
Well, yeah, but at the end, that's when he did his face like a lizard or something.
No, that was the Marine.
Yeah.
I'm talking about Lil Kev the rapper.
Oh, okay.
The Marine's slow, but they thought this guy
Yeah.
was...
Oh, I take it back. The second one I liked is when Dennis was doing his How to Seduce a Woman.
Yeah,
One.
the dentist system.
The Dennis system. What a douchebag. All right, listen, with that, we're going to start just going through a series of lists and have some discussions. We're going to talk real quick about our top 5 golfers of all time.
Okay.
You want me to go first?
You can go first.
I don't think you know some of them.
You
No.
could. I see that. I only recognize probably 4 or 5 names on there. So you can go 5 to
right,
1.
so-
I won't interject.
I'm going to do my top 5, but before I do that, I'm going to give an honorable mention. An honorable mention is to the older guys. Like before I started watching golf. I started watching probably 3 years before Tiger Woods came out.
Dude, you don't have Arnold Palmer up there.
Can you be quiet and let me finish? About 3 years before Tiger Woods came out. Before that, it was sporadically, if somebody had it on, we went over to somebody's house or something like that. But with that, the top 5 more senior golfers that I like is Jack Nicholson for sure,
Oh, yeah.
Arnold Palmer for sure, Gary Player, Tom Watson,
I don't know that one.
and I am not taking Lee Trevino. I am taking Chichi Rodriguez.
Okay, who's Lee Trevino and who's Chichi Rodriguez?
2 fucking fantastic golfers. Chichi was the guy, is that when he finished his putt, he took his putter out, turned it around, and he would pretend like he was a 3 month
Who's fencing?
and then he would sleeve it.
That's pretty cool.
Oh, you got to watch it. Old Chichi Rodriguez. That fucker was good. All 5 of them were great.
Were
All
any
right.
of these back in the day when they used wooden clubs and the balls that...
Persimmon, yeah, these guys were in the 60s and the 70s.
Okay.
And they played in the 80s, in the beginning of the 80s. All right, so for me, my top 5 golfers of all time, and I miss Ben Hogan because he's a good one, but I'm just going to go with recent stuff. I got John Daly in there because he's John Daly.
You gotta love him.
He's one of a kind.
I think he was the reason why they said you can't smoke cigarettes during tour events.
Well, I'm not sure if that was the case or not, but John Daly's one of a kind. He's number 5. For me, number 4 is Sevi Ballesteros.
Can I say something about
He
John
is-
Daly?
God damn it! I just went to the next one. Go ahead.
There was a story where him and Tiger were at an event, and John Daly tried to get Tiger to drink with them, and Tiger didn't. He went back to his
Right.
hotel. He was straight and narrow back then. But John Daly drank until 4 a.m., showed up violently hungover, and still beat Tiger Woods by 2 strokes.
Yeah, but they're both different. All right, I'll continue on. So John Daly, number 5. Number 4, Sevi Ballesteros. You probably don't know him, but he's the original gangster Spanish golfer. You think Sergio and those guys are pretty good? You got to get at Sevi Ballesteros. He's the man in the 80s and 90s. He was it. Died of cancer, I believe. He's great. I currently like Dustin Johnson. I think if that guy gets his head together, his game easily follows. His mistakes are more mental than physical. But when he's on, and I don't think anybody who's playing can beat him now.
Plus
Whether
he's-
it's Justin or Brooks or anybody else.
DJ also married Wayne Gretzky's daughter, so good job pulling that one off, buddy.
I'm just waiting for what their kids look like when they get older.
Fucking supermodels.
And her mom is a real famous actress and,
I believe
and
so.
model. It was amazing when them two. I'm amazed they're still together. But I guess when you're married to the great one, it takes a lot to go away, right?
Well, this next guy you have up here, he almost got divorced. There was a
he
time.
did. He dumped somebody. So my second favorite I like is Rory McIlroy because when he's on his game, he's a beast. He's a beast.
No question.
And number 1 for me is Tiger.
Okay. So I have a lot of similarities with you. I'll start with my number 5, Patrick Reed. I'm just doing recent guys.
He's a good.
So
he's a good
I
golfer.
don't know too many, but yeah, I'd say he's 5.
He's got a Masters jacket. He's a good
Yeah.
golfer.
I go Rory as number 4
Okay.
just because he's kind of fallen off lately.
Well, it depends. If he gets his head in the game, the guy's the best. But
Yeah.
the problem is he cycles like this, boom, and
Yeah.
So I don't know what's going on. Maybe he's still looking for a woman. I don't know. Or that Swedish woman killed him just like they did Tiger.
Yeah, she chased him with a club and he drove into
You know
a
what?
tree.
Maybe, hold on a second. This is an infomercial for all PGA golfers and live golfers. Be careful of the Swedish women.
They'll take your soul.
That's it. Gorgeous. Gorgeous. I actually think Norwegian women are prettier than Swedish women.
German. I like German women. I like German women and Japanese women.
I'll take
Half
a
German,
Norwegian
half
or
Japanese
a
would be
Swede over a
perfecto.
German any day.
So that's my number 4. Number 3, just because I like his character, I'm going with John Daly as number 3.
That's cool.
And then, akin to you, I have Dustin Johnson as number 2, and no one holds a candle to Tiger, so
Nah.
he's number 1.
It's unfortunate though. So Tiger is in the same predicament I think Mike Tyson was. Had Mike Tyson not gone to jail, and had Mike Tyson not lost Cuss and his team and
Cuss is his coach?
and didn't get involved with Don King,
Yeah.
I think Mike Tyson could have been the greatest of all time because he's one of the greatest.
Sure, top
But
5.
he lost like 5 years where he could do some serious business.
Yeah, who do you think the greatest boxer is then, if it's not Mike Tyson? Is it
I pick
Holyfield, Ali?
Ali. Holyfield's not even top 10.
Okay.
Jack Dempsey's up there.
The Rocky
Johnson's
Marciano.
up there.
Rocky Marciano is pretty good.
Marciano's up there. There's a lot of guys
George Foreman.
that are up there. What was the second thing we said that? What did I just say?
The Swedish
Tyson.
women.
Oh, and then Tiger. That's the saddest thing for me in golf. Tiger was at his top,
Mhm.
and then he just fell after his divorce and everything else. We see glimpses of Tiger nowadays,
Yeah, he's got bad back.
but you
though.
didn't see him. You saw him as a kid because I was always watching it.
Yeah.
He was different.
Mhm.
He still is different, but he's not different enough to be better than.
Yeah, but he's
In the
holding out like
past-
multiple times around in the past.
Yeah, but in the past, man, he was a machine. And if you were able to see Tiger Woods in his prime, like I did, I saw Mike Tyson in his prime. I did.
Mhm.
I saw who else were we talking about the other day?
Ali.
Michael Jordan in
Michael
his
Jordan.
prime. Magic Johnson in his prime. I saw Barry Sanders in his prime. These guys, There's a lot, like you could say Eric Dickerson, but Eric Dickerson, as good as he was, he done Barry Sanders.
Bo Jackson.
I saw Bo Jackson, but you only saw him for a little bit because he got hurt. But he could have been something.
Yeah.
You know, I saw Lenny Bias. I told you about that I thought he could give Jordan a run at the time. And he died because he was doing crack in Maryland. But I saw him in college. And in college, he was special. I don't care what sport you are, and you can do it in anything in business and stuff like that. When you see somebody special, you notice it. Like so, Jamie Dimon from J.P. Morgan this week. I love that guy. Free infomercial. He basically told everybody, come back to work. But you don't understand. We have a petition saying we don't want to come back to work. I don't give a shit about your petition. You're coming back to work. And he explained it. And he was articulate on the reasons why. Younger people need mentorship. You build relationships when you're in. And guess what? I'm coming to work, and I'm the boss, and I'm telling you to come to work. There should be no other reason.
Yeah.
This is how far everything has swung to the left with this nonsense.
Well, it's not the left. I think it's mainly Gen Z, my generation.
No,
believing
I
they
think
should get
everybody got
handouts.
lazy. Look, the federal government, where over half of the people weren't even working, and there's a big consternation that they got to come back to work. Come on, 4 years ago, you were working every day, and you got to telework one every 2 weeks or once a month to practice continuity of operation.
I remember when
everybody complaining that they got to go to work. Who are they servicing?
I don't know.
They're servicing everybody else that goes to work
Yeah,
all the time.
I remember when I was a kid and we would get snow days, and you would come in and say goodbye, and I go, "You going to work?" He goes, "Yeah."
Yeah.
School's closed. Government's not closed.
Right.
I'll see you at 6.
Right. Or the airport's not closed.
Yeah.
Airport never closes.
No.
You always got to get there.
Yeah, COVID definitely did a lot to unravel the whole 5-day in office work week.
You know what? And I think that hurt people your age between, 22 and 32. I think that 4 or 5 year period it caused
because they had the wrong idea of reality.
But they also didn't have developmental opportunities and mentoring opportunities and working on larger problems.
I'm the exception.
I think it's a problem for the kids too, as it relates to their education, as we're number 40 out of 40 best nations in the world in education. Look.
Well, if you break that down to like white Americans, Asian Americans.
I don't care what it says, but it says right now, Alec, we're number 40 out of 40, and we spend the most. So how can we spend the most and be in last place if the system isn't by nature dysfunctional?
I know the answer, but I'll hold my
corrupt,
tongue.
It could be dysfunctional. We could be feeding unions, not the kids. We could be doing a whole bunch of bullshit programs. But how can you spend the most out of the 40 and have the worst score?
Yeah.
I mean, that's hard to do.
Yeah, when COVID started, I was in my last semester at UVA, and I thought to myself immediately, oh, sweet, free semester, because everything was online.
Yeah, but you only had 3 classes.
I know, I did. I timed it well.
Because I had you schedule your shit well.
Yeah, we did 6, 6, 6, 6.
Because I figured you were going to go like this.
I was going to crash. I did crash out.
and you're lucky you only had 3 classes.
But the one thing I'll say is that I was certainly the exception to people of my generation not going into work. Because you remember when I got my job, I was going on 5 days a week testing stuff, and only 2% of the company was local. Everybody was remote.
Right.
But people, if it's beggars, you give them an inch, they'll take a mile.
Yeah, but you know what? Not everybody. And I just find it sad when I find it sad. People have lost their way, and that's because, listen, everybody needs leadership, guidance, direction, structure, and a comprehension of what you're doing. If you can't provide those things, then you get what you get.
You're SOL.
And that's what happened.
That's why we need strong leaders who lead by example.
Right. Now,
a la Trump.
Strong leaders that lead by example. I will let you go first. We are now going to do a quick list on our top 5 NFL linebackers of all time.
Okay, I'll start. Before my time, but I was a little bit flabbergasted. It wasn't on your top 5, but I got to go with Mr. Dick Buttkiss. Mm-hmm. Not only do you have one of the best names in the world, you were the nucleus of your defense.
Oh, no, he was it.
Hats off to you,
as soon as
sir.
they got Gale Sayers a year later, they became something. Remember I told you before? There's a great movie to watch. He plays a small side piece. It's called Brian's Song. It talks about Brian Capoletti and Gale Sayers, two running backs that came in the same time, one out of Wake Forest and then Sayers out of Kansas, and how they were competing for halfback, and they made Capoletti the fullback, and the two of them are great. And then Gale Sayers, who I have hanging in there, my dad's favorite running back, along with Jim Brown, blows his knee out in the 60s, and he's
So
gone
you're
for
screwed
years.
for life.
And then the other guy becomes the best runner, and then they come back together, and they find out he has cancer. I think it was
Interesting.
leukemia. Brian Song, great movie, guys.
So here's a question for you, because I'm not too sure. Was Junior Seau a linebacker?
Of course,
All
he
right.
should be on your list.
Yeah, well, okay, so my number 4 was going to be Mike Singletary, but guess what? You just got relegated to honorable mention. Number 4, I got to go with Junior Seau.
Not a bad trade.
He went to USC, right?
Yes, he did.
What a gangster. There was another guy, the quarterback who went to USC, John David Booty or something.
Yeah.
Such a silly name.
Yeah, he's terrible.
So, yeah, Mike Singletary, you are an honorable mention. Number 4 is Junior Seau. Number 3, just because I like him, Brian Urlacher.
He's good.
Probably in nobody's top 5 list, but he's in mine just because he was a hard-nosed MF.
And he was a safety at New Mexico State.
Oh, he was.
We'll have his jersey upstairs, number 42,
That guy
which
got
was your
big, man.
boy's jersey.
Ronnie Lott.
Ronnie Lott, the best
That's
safety
my
all
guy.
time. I think people say, because I'm a homer, had that guy lived, I think he would have been the best.
Oh, dude, his highlights of just
Yeah,
decking people.
he's got a decade's worth of highlights in 4 years.
Dude, he was even decking people in the Pro Bowl.
Yeah.
Who does that?
Well, you got a guy like Ed Reed who had great hands,
Uh-huh.
but he couldn't hit like Sean. You'll listen to his interviews when him and Ray Lewis were talking. He said he was special.
Mm-hmm.
He said he was as good, if not better, than me with his hands. And he said he hit like you, Ray. And Ray was like, "Oh, he did."
Speaking of Ray, perfect way to allude to my number 2 pick,
Perfect.
Ray Lewis.
I got nothing wrong with that.
He's an animal. He wasn't formally charged for anything, so that was all alleged. So he's good in that regard. Unlike the who was the Ravens running back, like beat the shit out of his wife in that elevator.
Oh yeah, Ray Rice.
Ray Rice, yeah, that guy's that's a piece of work. But
So Ray Rice ain't the only one doing it.
Oh,
He's
they're
the
all
only
doing
dumbass
it.
to get caught on a camera.
he put the smackdown on her. You saw the
Look,
video, right?
It was terrible.
Horrendous.
Terrible. But you got to pay attention when cameras on.
So,
So,
okay, but-
who's your number one?
all right, we don't beat women when there are no cameras
No,
around.
we
I
don't
just
ever
want to
beat
make
women.
that. I just want to make that clear.
But women shouldn't be laying hands on dudes either.
I mean, dude, if FAFO,
Well,
equal rights, equal fights.
no, I know, but that goes back to what we talked about before. Do not listen. I heard this yesterday, and I'm going to do an infomercial. So here's a quick infomercial, guys. And you know what I'm talking about. You either got a good woman or you're not a good woman. So good women are hard to find. Not a good women are easy to come by. But here's the thing.
I'm going to
Once
check
you-
to make sure we're still recording audio.
Well, I wanted to make sure you were listening to this. It looks like it's moving.
we're good.
All right, so this is for you too.
I have PTSD from all our episodes.
When you get on the wrong bus,
Mm-hmm.
it's important to get off at the very first stop you can. Because if you don't, the ride back home is going to cost you more.
Mr. Philosophizer over
Look,
here.
man, think about it. I saw that. I'm like, shit, yeah, you get a crazy chick, and you're like, 2 weeks in, you're like, But imagine if that lasts 6 months.
Well, look what happened to me with my crazy
No,
chick.
but what happens at 6 months when you knew you should have went at 2? And even whether Pudani's good or not, you at 6 months now you're invested and you can't easily pull away. More likely,
You got to pretend there's a death in the family
when you
or
get on
something.
the wrong bus, get off at the first available stop. The further you go, the harder your journey is going to cost to come back. So free
That
thing.
sounds like some shit
All right,
David
who's your
Goggins
number
would
one?
say. So my number 1 is also your number 1.
Mike, thanks for ruining my list.
LaDainian Tomlinson. Oh no, Lawrence Taylor.
You stupid.
We wrote
fucker.
LT. LaDainian Tomlinson is
only
a running
one
back for the
LT.
Chargers. My bad. My bad.
Oh, this got to be a good clip.
All right, you
dummy.
can clip that. But he's great. You remember when he was in Waterboy?
Who?
LT was in Waterboy.
Where?
He was teaching that. Oh no, Mud Dogs. Yeah, so he was in Waterboy.
I don't remember that.
Okay, well, he had a cameo in
I'll
Waterboy.
have to look at that. All right, let me go through my list. real
Shit, I'm
quick.
sorry. LaDainian Tomlinson.
You dumbass.
What am I doing?
All right, mine are quick. It's a little bit different, but it's like how I like a linebacker to play.
Yeah.
So for me, number 5, I'm going to go with Derek Thomas. Derek Thomas, outside linebacker for Kansas City, very much like LT. A little quicker than LT, but not nearly as strong. But his sack numbers, he changed games. I've seen him get 7, 8 sacks in a game. He's a machine. He ended up dying because he didn't know how to swim, but he was trying to save a kid who was drowning, and he saved a kid but killed himself.
Huh.
Imagine how sad that is. Mike Thomas, I think, number 22 for the Redskins back in the early 80s, did the same thing. He was Rookie of the Year, and I think he died in a swimming accident trying to save somebody.
Interesting.
Which means everybody should learn to swim. Number 4 for me is Derek Brooks, the guy that played with John Lynch at safety, and oh goodness gracious, the guy from Warren Sapp on the D line. He
That's
was the
impossible.
linebacker. He was great. Number 3 for me is Ray Lewis. Number 2 for me is Luke Kuechly, who was the middle linebacker for the Panthers. He just went into the Hall of Fame. I think he's the best cerebral guy out there. LT, Lawrence Taylor, is number 1 by far, and I will give an honorable mention. And for me, it was the greatest football player ever to come out of Kent State, and not Julian Edelman and not Harrison, the big linebacker, number 92 for the Steelers.
Yeah.
But it's Jack Lambert, number 58
Okay.
for the Steelers.
What's
that
cool?
guy played with missing teeth, and the funny thing is, he was 6'5", 205, and nobody wanted to go up the middle on that guy.
What's crazy is the evolution of football. Back in that day, it's rare to find someone on the team that's like 350, 4 bills.
No
Now
one.
you got like
No
10
one.
people on your team who are 4 bills
They showed the average line that we were looking at.
during the Super Bowl.
Yeah, they were like 6'5", 335.
Yeah.
The Hogs, when the Redskins won all those, the only dude over 300 was Joe Jacoby, and he was like he was 6'6", like maybe 305, 310. The Mark May, Grimm, those guys were 265 to 285. Bostic played at 255, the center.
Yeah,
But they dominated shit up people. Now I
it's
guarantee
crazy how
you,
big these guys have
I
gotten.
guarantee you they were bigger than the defensive lines at the time. That what we are growing where in this country, these fuckers are big. I'm still of the opinion. Elon Musk, you got a couple extra bucks. Bill Gates, Zuckerberg, none of them are going to do this. Mr. Elon Musk, I would suggest if you have like $2 billion to invest in philanthropy, let's sponsor the U.S. rugby team. And let's get some football talent mixing with the rugby talent and some speed. Let's dominate the world.
The Australians are so
you want to beat
pompous.
your old South African country that you come from? Let's do it where it hurts the most. Rugby.
Yeah.
Come on. We need to sponsor it.
take a-
I will work with you.
You take a bunch of starting NFL players and put them on a rugby team, give them a couple months, they'll beat anybody.
Dude, you know how rugby works.
What's
The
that New
the
Zealand
bigger-
team, the Blacks?
Yeah, All Blacks.
All
the
Blacks.
bigger guys are in the middle.
Yeah.
And then you get the other guys on the side, and you got your speedsters on the outside. Remember you had like a Tyreek Hill as your outside dude.
Or Saquon Barkley,
right?
yeah.
Or a Saquon Barkley. Well, let's start moving in. Let's put some like Roquan Smith. Let's put some good safeties, good tight ends, good linebackers that can hit. And then in the middle, let's pick big tight ends and small linemen. There is no
Can you imagine
way.
if Shaq learned how to play rugby
He's
in
too
his
big
prime?
for rugby. He couldn't do it.
But
I
Alex Volkanovski was a real renowned rugby player. Sure, he was 220 at the time, but the dude's like 5'7".
Yeah. No. I firmly believe that if you take the current people we have rugby, you bring a second team, which is all NFL guys, and you integrate them and get 2 teams out of it, there's no one to beat us.
It's like the U.S. women's national team playing a male high school team. The male high school team will win.
Yeah. We have the best athletes in the world. I don't know why we don't just dominate rugby. But like I said, you got to have money put with that. So I'm hoping a guy like
It's because
Elon
nobody
can do it.
watches it. That's why we
Yeah.
don't fund it.
So I would love us to be able to do that. All right. Where are we at now? Oh, let's do our movies real quick.
We got to do book first.
Oh, book. Yeah. Well, I'm going to go with a classic. I don't even know who the author's name is. You're going to have to look at it. But it was a great movie. Read the book later. I'm taking Old Yeller.
That's fair. Okay. You want me to go?
That was the first movie that made me cry. I think I was like 6 years old.
When they shot the dog?
When he killed his dog. I ruined it for you guys, but
It's a 50-year-old movie.
yeah.
So.
But when he shot his dog because he had to, that
Yeah.
was the saddest thing for me. And then the puppies came from his puppies came out.
Yeah.
Afterwards.
So
Not from him, from his wife, his girlfriend or his wife,
his dog wife,
his dog wife.
because the dogs get married. So
They
I'm
get bonded.
sure, yeah, but they don't get married.
Of course
So-
not. They're animals. Who's gonna marry them?
That's the joke I'm trying to make.
Oh, okay.
Well, I mean, there are some people who are into that, even though it's illegal.
Yeah, we're not going. That way.
So I mentioned one George Orwell book before, but I'll have to mention this other one because it's a classic. I am going with Animal Farm,
Good, classic.
and it's relevant today
Why?
because of the fact that there is a whole lot of groupthink going on that
True.
is causing a litany of issues. So it should be something to avoid. It should be a good read to
Right.
understand what some people in particular are doing and how it's detrimental to society as a whole.
That's cool.
So that's my book.
All right. So listen, we're gonna go into the bitch of the week.
No,
We'll be-
let's do movies because
we didn't do the
we have an
movies yet.
anecdote.
I'm sorry.
I have
Go
an
ahead.
anecdote.
What's your movie first?
So,
Oh no, let me go first.
You go first.
I gotta go first.
Yeah.
So my first movie is, guys, there's a story behind this. So listen to the story. It's The Princess Bride. I know Alex seen it because we made him watch it. But listen,
Who the fuck is texting me?
you should watch it yourself before you watch it with your girlfriend or your wife or your significant other. If you enjoy it,
Oh, that was.
it'll talk about romance. It'll talk about loyalty. It'll talk about a journey, camaraderie, a team. It is a great movie to watch. Now, watch it yourself, and if you like it, then here's a test. See if your woman matches you. On date night, watch that with your lady. If she's making fun of it and dog shit in it, then you know that ain't the type of woman for you. If she's into it and she wants you to be her Dread Pirate Roberts, then you might have found the one.
The Princess Bride is your litmus test for relationships with women.
I think if you end up watching that, and if the woman likes it, then you at least have an idea into her personality type.
Who's the guy Antonio Banderas played, or the guy that looked like Antonio Banderas with the black
that was
black mask or whatever?
Maddie Pam Maddie.
Yeah, who cares?
Yeah.
What was his character's name?
Intego Montoya.
Oh yeah,
Intego Montoya.
my name is Intego Montoya. Prepare to die.
About to die. and then the the guy who was the taco with the lisp all the time.
Yeah,
He's Sicilian.
he's been in some other stuff too.
Yeah,
And then
yeah,
you
yeah.
obviously you can't talk about the Princess Bride without mentioning Andre the Giant.
Man. He's the best. He's the most iconic wrestler of all time. Okay, so that was my movie. So you got yours, and I think you maybe have an honorable mention.
And then that honorable mention will parlay into our time. We actually did trivia.
Yeah.
Because last time we tried to, they weren't doing it. So we were
Right.
just, okay. So my movie is a comedy written by Matt Stone and Trey Parker. So that obviously gives it away. There's Team America World Police.
It's a good movie.
I remember when I first showed
the
it to
puppets
you.
were fucking?
You go, what is this puppet shit?
Your
I go,
mom
no,
stopped
keep
when
watching.
the
Keep watching.
puppets were fucking.
Yeah. We can be together if you promise me you'll never die. I will never die.
Right.
And then I went into that.
No, that was a funny flick.
Yeah, it was a really
All right,
good.
what's your honorable mention?
Why is everyone so fucking stupid? That's supposed to be Kim Jong-un. So my honorable mention, we were playing trivia on Thursday, and I'll let you talk.
No, it's just the Alamo.
In more detail about it.
No, go ahead and say it.
All right, so we were playing trivia. The theme was romantic comedies. So we look at each other and immediately go, oh, we're fucked.
Yeah, my wife was there too, but she's not a big
There
rom-com
was
fan.
about 4 other teams.
Four other. Two of them were all women.
I will admit, I cheated, but I only did it 3 out of the 71 questions
The dude
because
said you could cheat.
he
You
did-
just got to get your answer in
he
quick.
did say you could cheat, but I felt bad because
Yeah.
it was too easy. I was using
and one of your 3 was wrong.
Yeah, I was using the speech to text and ChatGPT, and it picked them up like that.
Yeah.
But the guy who was the proctor, I guess,
Or the host, Proctor.
the
yeah.
host, we were talking with him after the fact because this guy over here loves telling everybody he's in a podcast. So we were
How you
exchanging
grow.
the creative
Yeah, what was his
creative
name?
projects we were doing. His name is Mike.
Mike. Okay.
So he mentioned a movie he was in because he said he was an actor. So I
Yeah.
go, oh,
What's the
okay.
title of the movie?
So what movie? So the title of the movie, this is my honorable mention. You subscribe to us, so I'm obliged to say it. Written by Mike. I will tell you, I did watch the movie, Mike, and it's pretty good. It's a pretty good, nice little indie flick that has a real good, interesting.
Twist at the end.
Yeah, it's an ending you don't really expect. So it's about two different couples and struggles with mental health, and you got some good motifs in there. But surprisingly, for a low budget indie film, I quite enjoyed it. So
All right. Well, we'll put
Good
it.
job,
in the
brother.
Comment. We'll put the title of the movie in the comment section, and if anybody hits it, or we'll give you a hashtag.
and then
just Mike, send us what you want in a hashtag, and we'll put it in
yeah,
our video.
you want to tell them the results of trivia
We
and
came
how
in
you
second
fumbled the
place.
bag.
We came in second place. We were only 4 points behind. 6 points behind. Had I the one question my wife, now keep in mind, I was of the strategy, we don't know none of this shit, so we'll take the educated guess.
We're making some
and
real
we're
good
gonna-
educated
and we're gonna
guesses.
answer yeah, we hit on like 7 out of 10 just because of the structure.
Yeah, like
It
there
was-
can't be three. There
it
can't
was
be
no
four
knowledge,
falses
it
in a
was just
row.
The structure of everything.
Like
and-
D
and
was the
patterns.
answer last time, so we can't do D.
Yeah. So now you interrupt me. Where was I?
Your last question.
Oh yeah. So your mother was there, and her favorite movie, one of her favorites is My Big Fat Greek Wedding, and we were supposed to pick the name of the restaurant, but I was hitting so quick, and I even told her what it was, and as soon as she told me, I hit the wrong one. I put Aphrodite, and it was the Dancing Zorbas or something. Had we got that right, we would have come in first place.
We would have
And-
won because the people next to us who won, no one got that answer correct.
Yeah. And the only difference is that we got $20 in gift certificates for beer
Instead of
beer
30.
and popcorn
Well, it
instead
was
of 30.
nominal, so that's why they want to
Next
cheat.
next week it's the 90s, but it's not Step Brothers.
Yeah.
it could have been Step
It
Brothers.
could have been
We
Step
we
Brothers.
would have owned.
But
that.
I think the people next to us were cheating. I
Oh,
think
of
they were
course they
listening to
were.
what we were saying.
Yeah, and they had their hands down, but that's okay.
Yeah.
That dude needs some luck. All right.
And their name was Go Eagles.
Yeah, you can't have that.
Get out of here.
All right, so we'll talk about bitch of the week. You want to go first?
Yeah, so it's funny. You heard my phone ringing. So my bitch of the week is Wes Watson. He's this guy who went to prison for like 10 years, and he has Dago tattooed on his stomach, and he came out and became an influencer, a motivational speaker, and a fitness coach. But his classes are $5,000 a month.
Oh.
And he's one of those internet tough guys that talks shit about everybody and goes, if you don't have a McLaren and a bad bitch, you're a loser. Get to the gym.
So he was a loser his whole life before he actually got some money.
So I want to say a few things. So he was known in prison for showing off his butthole to people.
Okay, look.
What kind of tough guy
that's
does
not
that?
What this my
And then
show's about.
his girl looks like a dude with
Okay.
prosthetic
Stop,
boobs.
Stop. We
Anyways,
don't need to get personal about
so he
people.
always threatens people online and says, "I'll beat your ass. Come over here." So a 7-foot tall behemoth showed up to fight 1-on-1 mutual combat. Him and his 3 buddies jumped him and hit him with dumbbells
Well,
and soccer kicked him.
That's not cool.
So he got arrested for that.
1-on-1 is 1-on-1. You don't jump somebody. There's no honor in that.
Plus, he talks like he's so tough. He's 5'7", and he
Well,
acts.
look,
He's
man,
lied about.
I've seen guys 5'7" that are tough, but you got to have a little bit of honor and dignity and respect.
Yeah,
and
so
it sounds like this guy
so
might
no
be missing
honor.
some of that.
This guy's a POS. I don't like him. That was actually who called me, because I signed up for a preliminary coaching session. So
Oh,
that's
you
the
missed
phone
it?
call I just got.
Oh.
If I knew, I would have put it on speakerphone and put it right into the mic.
Yeah.
But yeah,
All
Wes
right.
Watson, I don't like you, bud.
Okay.
Come fight me 1-on-1. Leave the dumbbells.
You can dislike anybody you want or call anybody you want, but leave the family and women out of it, and I won't be talking about buttholes. All right, my bitch of the week is
Plural.
the Four Nations hockey tournament between Finland, Sweden, the U.S., and Canada. It's being held between the Bell Center in Montreal, which we've been to,
Yep.
as well as the Boston Garden. Was it 2 nights ago when U.S. thumped the shit out of Finland 6-1?
That was Thursday.
Those two brothers
Because that was
went
trivia.
off.
Yeah.
And I could say this because I lived in Canada for 4 years. I lived 1.5 years in Quebec and 2.5 years in Ontario. Those fucking Canadian punks were booing the national anthem when they were in Montreal. Look, I don't give a
Shameful.
shit what anybody's political leanings are or what you say. at any sporting event, you do not boo any nation's national anthem. That is untouchable. If we were in the mob, you guys would all be dead. I mean, if that was Soprano and Tony Soprano or Vito
Hey,
Corleone,
come on.
no, there's a line you don't cross.
What are you
cross,
doing?
There's automatic consequences.
Yeah.
That is the dirtiest of dog shit. So I'm not calling out the whole, country of Canada or the province of Quebec, although it's probably easy to call out a lot of provinces of Quebec, and I can guarantee you everybody else living in Canada who doesn't live in the province of Quebec probably thinks half of the province of Quebec is dog shit. But whoever those knuckleheads were, you're my bitches of the week, because that you don't do. That is just not sportsmanlike. And if you're a gentleman or a sports fan, you don't do shit like that. Now, you can call them out by name, but you don't do shit like that.
I'll happily call out all of Canada.
All right.
Canada, just so you're aware, the only reason you're a thing is because we let you exist.
Okay.
Remember that.
All right. Well, that's it. And we're going to finish. Thank you very much.
See you next week.
See you next week. All right. Goodbye.
Disclaimer for Generations Unplugged with Big Kel and Kahuna. This is a podcast created for informational and entertainment purposes only. The views expressed in this podcast reflect the personal experiences and opinions of the hosts and guests. Topics like health, fitness, financial well-being, and personal development are discussed based on individual perspectives and are not intended as professional medical, financial, or psychological advice. Listeners are encouraged to consult with qualified professionals before making decisions related to health, lifestyle, or finances. Each person's journey is unique, and results may vary. The creators of Generations Unplugged disclaim any liability for actions taken based on the content of this podcast. Remember, informed decisions and expert guidance are key to building a fulfilling and balanced life.
And if you listen to the Generations Unplugged podcast, it will definitely make you a better lover.